Hello all and welcome to this hands-on lab. In our lab today, we will learn how to work with Amazon Timestream schedule queries. Before we continue further ahead, a couple of things to keep in mind. AWS services used in this lab can incur charges. Hence, ensure that you clean up all resources after completing this lab. Prerequisites for this lab is knowledge of Amazon Timestream. Hence, if you do not know what this service is all about, please refer to this overview tutorial that I had created some time back. URL to the tutorial is mentioned right here at the bottom. You will also need to complete an hands-on lab on batch load multi-measure data from S3. I had created this lab some time back. Again, the URL is mentioned right here at the bottom. In fact, I will have both of these URLs mentioned in the description of this video. You definitely need to complete this lab before continuing further ahead, as all the schedule queries that we'll be creating in this lab will be leveraging data that we load as part of the multi-measure data load from S3 lab. So you will need your matrix DB and your EC2 table that you create in this particular lab going forward. So please continue this lab and then continue this lab further along. Reference URLs. Please refer to this reference URL. This URL will provide you additional information around scheduled queries. Again, I will have this URL mentioned in the description of this video. Scenario for our lab today. In our lab today, we need to create a scheduled query to get an average of memory and CPU utilization per day by region and persist it in another time stream table for reporting purposes. So if you have completed the previous batch load lab, right, then in that case, you would have your matrix DB and your EC2 table, and you will have information of memory and CPU utilization. Remember, as part of that lab, you had downloaded a sample CSV file, and we basically loaded that information to our Timestream database and table. This is the very same information and the very same data that we are going to use to create our scheduled query. So the scenario is very simple. You have memory utilization and CPU utilization. We need to get an average utilization per day by region and then persist that in another time stream table. So hopefully the scenario is clear. Step 1. Please go ahead and complete this lab if you have not completed. Again, the URL is mentioned over here at the bottom and in the description of this video. As part of this lab, you must have downloaded the CSV sample data file. Keep that file handy and open it Excel. In fact, I have it right here with me. So this was the CSV file that you had downloaded. Again, if you've lost the link to the CSV sample data file is mentioned in the description of this video. So this is a CSV file. You see memory utilization, CPU utilization. You have 3 measures over here, region, location, and host name. These are, 3 dimensions over here. Apologies. Region, location, and host name. You have 2 measures, memory utilization and CPU utilization. What we need to do is we need to create a scheduled query that will give us the memory utilization and CPU utilization by region for one specific day. Now, over here, if you've opened the CSV in your Excel spreadsheet or your notepad, you will not be able to see the timestamp information, but you'll be able to see rest of the other information. If you want to see your timestamp information, then you will have to go to your Amazon Timestream. Again, this is a matrix DB, my EC2 table. You can go to query editor and then over here, run a query. So let's run a very simple query. That would be select star from matrixdb.ec2. Let me just zoom in real quick so you can see. This is the query. It's pretty simple, very straightforward. Click on run. And you should have 99 records mentioned right at the bottom. Now, your information is all intact and fully loaded. So let me continue further ahead. So we've completed step 1. We have a CSV open. We also ensure that we have our data. Next thing to do is you need to ensure that you have the required access. So you would need access to Amazon Timestream and S3. So full access, of course, to Timestream because you need to have access to your database. You're going to create a table. You also need to have full access to S3 because you are going to create a bucket, basically manage a bucket over there. As far as SNS and IAM is concerned, if you cannot get full access for whatsoever reason, ensure that you have the ability to create topics and to create an IAM role. In best case scenario, just go ahead and associate these existing policies to your user. This is to ensure that you do not face any challenges while doing the lab. So we've completed step 2. In my case, I've already provided the required access to my user. Step 3 is to create a S3 bucket. Ensure that you create the S3 bucket in the same region as Amazon Timestream. And after you create the bucket, copy its name on a notepad. So let me go to my console and then let me go to S3. So this is S3 and I'm going to click on create bucket. And I'm going to give a name over here. Now, of course, you can give whatever name that you like, but what am I going to give? My scheduled query bug. And I'm using Timestream in US, Ohio, that region. So that is US East 2. Please choose your region accordingly. I'm going to copy my bucket name, go to my notepad, paste it right there, leave everything as it is, and click on create bucket. So a bucket has been created successfully. So we have completed step 3. Step 4. In step 4, we need to verify and understand the data that we already have in our database and table in Amazon Timestream. Now, this was done as part of your previous lab, that is the batch load lab. So let us look at the data. I think we've already looked at the data in brief. But what we need to do is we need to look at the data carefully. We need to look at its timestamp, its memory and CPU utilization measure values, because our scheduled query is going to be around that. So let me go back over here, go to Timestream, go to query editor, right? And then again, we will have the same query, select star from matrixdb.ec2. Again, we'll run this particular query. And over here, one of the things that you should notice is the timestamp information. Now, if you see, timestamp is basically a date and time. So for all the records, all the 99 records, you have the same date. That is 18th of March, 2020. For all the records that you will see over here. And I'm not going to go through all of them. Of course, I request you to go through all of those records to ensure that there's a single date. It's just that these are different records or different, you can say, records with different time values and the same date value. Right? So these records have been created at different time intervals in the same day. So our scheduled query, if you remember when we were discussing the scenario, we need to ensure that we have an average of memory and CPU utilization by region for a specific day, right? So you have to group by date, you have to group by region, And then you have to take the memory utilization and CPU utilization average. So this is how your data is present over here. In fact, if I switch to Excel, now forget the timestamp information and do not fidget around with it. Again, only thing that you want to do over here is ensure that you turn on the filtering. Now, let's say if I had to go to AP East 1. So these are all the records for AP East 1. Now we know that all the timestamp information, the date part of the timestamp information is the same. So all these records are for one specific day. So if I have to go and look at the memory utilization and if I have to take it the average is 43.39. And similarly for CPU utilization, it is 51.58. I don't know, maybe this might be a little tiny, but you can do that on your side in Excel spreadsheet as well. So it clearly shows you the average. So this is the average that we need to ensure that our schedule query gets per region per day. Of course, if you have multi day information, then your average will have to be again sorted out by that specific day. Now, in Excel spreadsheet, that is going to be a little difficult. So you will have to either convert the values over the timestamp values over here into date and time in some other format or use some other tool. Okay, so this is what our step 4 is all about. Step 5. Now let us create our scheduled query, right? So we'll go to Amazon Timestream and we are already over here. So I'm going to clear this information. We have chosen our database as MatrixDB. We have a table over here as EC2. And so we have completed these 3 steps. Now this is a select query. Now I'm going to type this query out and I encourage you to also type it out. So let me go over here and say select and then from matrix.ec2 and what are we selecting? So first thing that we are selecting is the region. So region, and then we are saying we want to kind of give it an averages varchar field. And why we are doing this? This is going to be actually a measure name. So let's put averages as util underscore average. And of course, you can give any name that you like. Now, after that, we remember that we have to group by the information per day. So this is what helps with that. So it is bin into brackets time, comma, 1D. And then after that, we have our averages for a memory and CPU utilization. So let us do that. So it is going to be bin into brackets time, comma, 1D as per day. And then we have our average. Now, again, what we have is matrix.db.ec2 dot. We have memory utilization as avg underscore mem underscore util. Again, you can give whatever name that works for you. And then again, matrix.db.ec2 dot CPU utilization as CPU. Okay, let me give average underscore CPU util. So I guess we have all our 5 columns in place. And finally, we go further down over here and say group by region, comma, bin, time, comma, 1 day. So this is our entire query. Let me zoom in a little so you can see clearly. So this is the entire query, right? So select region, averages. Remember, this is going to be a measure name, just like how you would have matrix or something like that. I've given the measure name over here, the multi-measure name as averages. This is our grouping per day because we want to ensure that the data is grouped per day and it's all aggregated because that's how we are going to get an average. And then we have average for memory utilization and average for CPU utilization. We are selecting that from our database and table. And finally, we have a group by statement because remember, we have to group by region and the time measure, which is 1 day. So hopefully this query is clear. So let us see if this query runs now. So click on run. Okay, so something went wrong in line 1. So let me see, what did I miss? I think I got that right. Okay, let's see, group by. Okay, I think I have my group by correct. Group by region and this. I don't think there should be any other. I hope I didn't copy any funny characters or anything of that sort. Okay, I think I'm good. Let me run this thing again. Okay, so finally we get all of our averages. So if something like that happens, just ensure that you don't have any funny characters. Just ensure that it's formatted very well. Right? Sometimes, I don't know, for whatever reason, I either tend to copy some special characters or something like that over there. So in short, what we have is 7 rows by group by region per day and the average information. Now remember that we looked at the average information for AP East 1 and average memory utilization is 43.39 and CPU utilization is 51.58. So if I go back, this is AP East 1. Now average memory utilization is 43.39, which is the number over here. And the average CPU utilization, if you see over here at the bottom, is 51.58, which is the case over here as well. And we have 7 regions. So let's see how many regions we have. We have 3 and 3, 6 and 1, 7. So yes, we do have 7 regions. So I believe our query output is accurate. So we have created our query successfully. So we have completed this step. Now we have verified the output also with Excel spreadsheet. So what we are going to do is now we are going to go ahead and save this particular query. This is the name that I have recommended over here. Of course, you can give any name that you like. So go back over here, click on save, right? And this is, again, I'm just going to say AVG underscore region, mem, and CPU util. Of course, you can give whatever description name that you like, right? And this particular query has been saved. So let me go to saved queries. And this is my query right here. If I click on it, it comes back. And if I execute it again, we should have our 7 rows. So our query has been saved successfully. And ensure again that you remember this name, right? If you are like me, it's always good to copy it on a notepad. Step number 6. Now we need to go ahead and create our destination table. So we'll be creating the destination table in the same database, but we will be giving it this particular name, that is TBL underscore average EC2. Now, of course, you're more than welcome to give any other name that you like. It's going to have a custom partition for a dimension named region, just like your previous EC2 table. Everything else will remain default. So let's go back. Let's go to our tables, create table, choose our database, and I'm going to give the name TBL underscore average EC2. So this is the name that I have given. You can give any name that you like. It's going to have a custom partition. It's going to be on a dimension, and it is the partition key name is going to be region, just like your main EC2 table. Now over here, you need to give a S3 bucket. Of course, this is optional, but since you've created an S3 bucket, this is my S3 bucket, I guess. Let me go back and verify. Yeah, this is my S3 bucket. So you can choose that. Go any kind of error login and then click on create table. So this is step number 6. And let me also copy that here. So AVG EC2. So this is my table name. So we have completed step number 6. Step number 7. So finally, what we do is we go ahead and create a scheduled query. So let's go to Amazon Timestream, scheduled queries. This is scheduled queries right here. Let's look at the steps. So we go to scheduled queries. We've completed this step. We are going to provide a name for a scheduled query. Of course, this is the name that I have suggested here. You can use any name that you like. We're going to select our database and our destination table. We're going to look for a saved query that we created. We're going to validate a query. Then under the destination table data model, we are going to select Visual Builder. We are going to load our query columns from a query, and then eventually set the time stream attributes as per this particular image. So let us get started. So we are already in scheduled queries. Let's click on create scheduled query. Now the name that I have given over here is SQ underscore average region for mem and CPU. Again, you can give whatever name that you like. So this is AVG average region for mem and CPU. So that is fine. Again, I'm just going to copy it here. This is our destination database name, and this is our destination table name. Now remember to choose the destination table name and not the source table name. Your source table name is EC2, but your destination table name is TBL underscore average EC2. Now we come to the query statement. We are going to look for our save queries over here. So I believe which is the one. Okay, looks like I created both of them today, but this one is at a later time. So I'm going to look at this one. Let me again go back. What is the name of the saved query? This is region mem and CPU util. Okay, so this is the one. So if you get confused like me, it's always good to go back and verify the name. This is the name of my saved query, and this is my saved query right here. So click on that, and the saved query will be copied over here. Scroll down. So we have completed these steps. Now we need to validate our query. So scroll down, click on validate query. Our query is valid, so which is a good thing. Scroll further down, and over here we are going to use Visual Builder, just like how I have mentioned in my steps over here. Now we are going to click on load source columns from query, verify the time stream attributes, and remember that we created this varchar column util underscore averages. That is going to be our measure name column. So let us go ahead and do that. So click on load source columns from query, So all of them are loaded over here. Now for util average, this particular column name, this is the second one. Go over here and make this as measure name column. And scroll further down. So we've completed all of these steps. Now if you look at this, region is dimension, util average is measure name column, time measure measure. What do we have over here? Dimension, measure name column, time measure measure. So we are good. So we have basically completed all of these steps. Now continuing further ahead, under run schedule, we need to select fixed rate with time frame as minute and frequency as 1. And the reason I'm selecting the time frame as minute and frequency as 1 is because that we want to run this query immediately as part of this lab, and we don't have to wait for a very long time. Of course, in real life, your frequency could be totally different. It could be a daily job, or an hourly job, or whatever that works for you. But this is the lowest time and frequency that I can basically get to as far as a schedule query is concerned. So come down, schedule query, run schedule, fixed rate. We choose minute, enter the value over here as 1. Finally, under SNS topic, click on Manage SNS topics and create a new topic. Again, this is the name that I have given. You can give any name that you like. So Manage SNS topics. In fact, what I'm going to do is I am just going to copy this from here, create a topic, right? I'm going to say SNS underscore this, and then everything is by default, and click on create topic. So this is my topic name, and I come back over here, refresh. Where is my topic? This is my topic right here, right? AVG region. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, this is the one. Location of your S3 bucket. So again, go back. This is my S3 bucket. Choose that. This is default, and create a new IAM role. Again, you can give whatever name that you like, right? So we have completed all of these steps, and now we are giving the name of our IAM role. So I'm going to say role underscore CPU. Okay, let me give a better name. Okay, so this is a good name for my role. Again, I'm going to copy it over here. And then I think we've given all the values. So let me just go back and verify the steps. So we created a SNS topic. We created a S3, we selected a S3 bucket. We left the default KMS key. We created a new IAM role. And finally, we need to click on schedule, create scheduled query. And then our query should be visible under scheduled queries. And then we can refresh to see if it was executed. So let me click on create scheduled query. If everything is fine, this should go smoothly. So it's creating a scheduled query at this time. So a query has been created successfully, and just refresh. So it's not executed yet. It is just in an enable state, but you do see the next runtime. So right now it's 7:09 p.m. And if you see, it's scheduled for 7:10 p.m. over here in US. So we have completed basically step 7. Now step 8. So let us go ahead and run a scheduled query. Now, of course, if you want, you can wait for 1 minute. That is one option. The other option is that you can select this and then click on run once. So whatever works for you, you can do that, right? So it's totally up to you. If you click on run once, you will have to give some date and time. So I would typically give today's date and some time, and then basically click on confirm. So it will basically execute this. So let me see, it was executed. So this was just executed, and then the next run is at 7:11. So it's up to you. You can do run once, or you can just wait for the next run runtime to come. So it's the next cycle. It's a week. It's a if this particular query is scheduled for every minute, right? So it's not realistic, but it will run frequently. So we have basically completed this step. Step 9 is to go ahead and verify our data in the destination table. So let's go over here. Now, if you want, you can basically disable this. So if you don't want the next run to execute, so just disable this so it won't execute. This will give you enough bandwidth to go and verify your data in your destination table. So let's go to query editor, and we are going to clear this. And over here, let's refresh our table. So we have our destination table visible right there. Go to preview data. And then if you click on preview data, it actually generates the select statement for you. But we are going to select all our records. So I'm going to just zoom in a little. And if you see, this is our query right here. It's a very simple query. Select star from matrix DB and our destination table name. So let me zoom out. And let us run this particular query. So our scheduled query did run successfully. We do see our 7 records over here. This output should be the same output for your saved query, and this should also match with your Excel spreadsheet. So let us take another region like US East 2, right? So let me come back over here and say US East 2. Okay, and now let's look at the memory utilization is 58.46. So 58.46, and CPU utilization is 56.06. 56.06. So our query is spot on. Now, since this has only a single day worth of data in your main EC2 table, so hence you only see data for one day. But let's say if you are having streaming data or real-time data coming in into your main table, then you can have this schedule query to generate this average aggregation results for reporting purposes or for whatever reason that you might need on regular basis. So this is how schedule queries work. And you can have as complex of a query that you want, right? Depending upon your data and your reporting or your querying needs. The intention of this lab was to show how to use this very specific feature. Hopefully you like this feature. It's a really cool and a very handy feature. So do explore it. Let me know your experience. And this is it from me today. I will see you shortly in some other lab. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.